Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today is the second video of the Summer Dollar Tree Junk Journal Challenge. If you haven't seen the first video, I did a shop with me and a haul, and what I decided to do is kind of do a flamingo theme, but it'll still be summer, so I'll bring in the elements of summer with like sunglasses, flowers, bright colors. This is going to be a very bright junk journal. I'll show you the things that I'm going to use for this video. This will be making the cover. So I have these flowers that I found, this craft fabric. I'm going to use either one of those. I have a piece of pink paper that I pulled out of my stash. I have this flamingo iron-on transfer. I have this really cool sunglass notebook. I'm going to use these pieces for the cover, and then I have the flamingo napkins that I picked up. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll start making my cover. I just wanted to say I'm going to go ahead and iron this piece onto a piece of cardstock. I'm going to cut off the Let's Flamingo and use that on a different page, but I just want the flamingo to be on a piece of cardstock so I can fussy cut around it and use that on the cover. After I ironed it onto the cardstock, I'm going to just fussy cut the flamingo out. With this, it's meant to be ironed onto a t-shirt because it's kind of like a vinyl fabric, or like I think it's a plasticky, fabricy, I'm not quite sure. So you really have to be careful when you're ironing it that it doesn't get wrinkled up. I just put a piece of, I included the parchment part on top, and then I also put a piece of fabric underneath it all just so I didn't get any residue on the top of my ironing board. And this definitely added some stability to the flamingo and made it easier to glue on top of the cover. If you're going to use fabric to cover your book, you could definitely iron that onto fabric. So now I'm taking the covers from this little notebook and I'm tearing them off at the spine, and then I'll use my paper cutter to trim off those ragged edges. And I'm just double checking to see if I like the flamingo on the cover. So now I need to use this fabric, and that is what I'm going to use to make the spine. So I'm going to take some some really thick white chipboard. It's kind of like a chipboard, but it's a backing piece from some scrapbook paper. I'm cutting 1 inch of that thick board, and then I'm going to line them up and glue the fabric so that there's a little bit of an edge on one side and then a little bit of an edge on the other side. So it's about 1/2 inch. And then I'll stick that fabric down. I'm putting the end down at the bottom. Just make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to put glue on my spine piece. Spread out the glue and then glue it put it right down on that piece of fabric. I'm leaving just a little smidge of a seam there, and then put glue on the rest of the fabric and glue the other side down. And I'm just making sure everything is straight and just kind of smooth it out. And then I'm going to put glue on the inside part and go ahead and pull that fabric around, and that'll make a secure spine. Now I'll go ahead and trim off at the end both pieces. I just want to keep smoothing it until it dries a little bit more. And I'm going to let that dry for a little while before I move on. I'm going to go ahead and trim my pink papers because I want to cover the inside covers with the paper. So I'm just marking here where I need to cut it and take it over to my paper trimmer. So this will just depend on the size of whatever you're using for your cover. So I start to put glue down here because I was going to glue those papers down, but then I realized I wanted to glue my ties in, so I'm using the rest of that piece of fabric and I'm cutting it in half and then cutting it in half lengthwise, and I'm going to use my sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch all the way around to glue the two sides, or to sew the two sides together so that there's the color on both sides. So I did that off camera. Now I'm gluing one of them into the front of the cover and then gluing the other into the back. I'm putting about 1 inch glued down on the inside. And then now I'm going to work on my inside covers. I'm going to take the napkin here and cut it down and cut out one side of the napkin that has the flamingos on the one side, and then I'll use the other side for the back cover. So I'm trimming the one section of the napkin first. I'm kind of lining it up there to see where I want to trim for the rest of it. And these are going to be to make little pockets on the inside cover. But first I'm going to trim it a little bit, just kind of do a little fussy cut around the flamingos and some of the foliage. And then I will pull the two layers apart and glue the top layer down onto some cardstock to make it sturdier. This took a little bit to get the two layers apart, but eventually I got it. You just have to be really careful because the thinner parts of the paper, like where the heads are, you could risk tearing them. So I'm taking just a craft glue stick that I have, it was Elmer's, and sticking that down. I found this to be easier than using Mod Podge because Mod Podge you can risk it getting wrinkled, and I didn't want to put glue on top. So now I'm on the other side and I'm going to put this flamingo on the back cover. So I'm just trimming it down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that down on the cardstock and then trim both at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but you know what I mean. I'll trim them both after I have them both glued down on the cardstock. I'm just about done here. Going around the edges just to make sure they're all glued down, and then I'm going to trim off that little white piece on the side. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the center just to hold that piece down, because I am going to stitch around all the edges of the cover. Now I'm going to use a little bit of my tacky glue. Well, I'm not to that point yet, but I'm going to cover the back with the same pink paper. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that and trim it. And I realized that I didn't get it marked dark enough. Put a little bit of glue on the two sides there and glue that down. That's just to hold it in place, because I do go in with my sewing machine. But you definitely want to let it dry before you go and sew it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on two of the sides there to hold it in place. But I do want that to be a pocket, so I did put it on the sides. And there I'm showing that I sewed all the way around, as well as on all the way around down the center there. And now I'm using some tacky glue, and I'm going to add some of this polka dot ribbon. This is just ribbon I had in my stash. I think it's an Ofray from Joann's. So I'm going to put that on all the seams just to cover up where the edge of the fabric is and the edge of the paper. I'll let them dry a little bit before I actually trim them. I at first thought I was going to leave those tall at the top, but I did trim it all the way around, flush to the edge of the paper or the cover. I like using the grosgrain ribbon because it's thicker and you have less of a chance of the glue showing through. And I always smooth out my glue before I put the ribbon on top, and that helps as well. Now I'm trimming the white that you see there all the way across. Now I'm just going to pull in all of my decorations and try and figure out where I want things. I'm going to glue some rickrack down at the bottom, and that was just rickrack I had in my stash. Trim off the edges. With this, you have to keep holding it down and making sure that the edges go all the way to the end of the cover, because it does tend to move when you fold the book. So I just kind of hold it at all the different spots until it dries completely. And then to keep it from fraying, I put a little bit of glue on the end there. Now I'm going to put glue on the back of my flamingo. And then I'm going to put that on the front cover. And then I was trying to figure out where I wanted the flowers, and I decided that I wanted them at the intersection there of the ribbon and the rickrack. So I'll use my tacky glue and glue those down. I think this turned out so cute, and it's going to look really adorable with the papers inside and a tassel possibly. right, so I think this turned out so cute so far. I'm gonna try and see what I can come up with to put there, possibly, and then maybe a tassel, but I haven't found anything that I really like yet. I want to try and find some other ribbons at the Dollar Tree. I didn't have any of the pink gingham that they usually have there, and that's probably what I would want to go with. Would be probably orange and pink to kind of tie in the orange on the front and a little bit of orange here. I can use some of this ribbon, of course, or this fabric in the tassel, and then I can use what I have of this too, but I also want to add in something else. But yeah, so far I think this is turning out really cute. Be sure to subscribe if you're not, so that you can follow along with the next video. It will be putting together the pages and getting it in the book, and then maybe I'll have a final video where I add in embellishments and things like that. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe. If you end up doing any of this challenge, you can make a video here on YouTube and post it, and just let me know in the comments if you're going to post a video. Also, over on Instagram, tag me at Creative Crafticality, and then I will see what you're doing, and I'm thinking about doing a giveaway at the end of this challenge. I'm not sure if it'll be the journal or if it'll be like a pack of maybe summer goodies, but go ahead. Every time, if I do a giveaway, I'll go through and see who's posted what and include an additional chance, I guess, into the raffle. Or yeah, I guess we consider it a raffle. But yeah, I think I will do a giveaway. That'll be fun. I always like to give away things. I have a lot to give, so so anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.